Okay. You either received the hydrangea or you received the iris. Okay. Um, if you received the iris, you did not receive the ribbon. If you received the hydrangea, you received both ribbon and threads for those people who did not want to do ribbon work. Okay. Um, that being said, I'll walk you through the couple of the stitches today for the ribbon, and I will walk you through what it means to paint thread. The background on both of these is the same. Does everybody know what we used T-stitch on this? Does everybody know what the T-stitch is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I don't have to do that one. And I used like 2 strands of Blossom with 1 strand of the Silk Lame Petite. It's the same stitch on both canvases. All right. And I did that for the 6 canvases. The blue ones had the same, the green ones had the same, and the peach ones had the same. So you will be using some of the same threads over. If you start to run out of a thread, it means that you might be using just a little too much, but I have I've ordered plenty of thread, so we should be good. The good thing is too that they're flowers, so dye lots don't matter as much.
Mm.
That being said, I would start with your background because it's going to make your job easier down the line. And if you are doing ribbon, it also gives you something. You always do everything but the ribbon and the beads first. That way you have a bit of an anchor when this one's a little bit different because you don't have much of an anchor, but it gives you a little bit more of an anchor at the when you start to do your ribbon. Has anybody in here, I know a couple of you have not done ribbon. Have a lot of people here done ribbon?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with the hydrangea and I'm going to show you, I'm going to move over to, and there were 2 different stitches I used on the ribbon work, and ribbon work is very forgiving. All right. And you can, even though, and I just played with the different colors. So I didn't necessarily follow the lines, and anybody that knows me, I think outside of the box. Okay. I've never been a person who stays in my colors stay in line. All right. Never. But you can, because hydrangeas have lots of colors to begin with, don't be afraid to play with the different colors and add them where you want. So I used basically for the hydrangeas, I used a loop stitch and I used a French knot. So the tiny ones are French knots. You can even do a French knot with a running stitch. So I'm going to move over to the other camera and I'm going to show you what each one of those look like. Apparently I'm not fitting on this today. So for ribbon, if you've not done ribbon, you're actually going to anchor it on the bottom. All right, which is another reason why I need to get over here a little bit more. Okay, you're going to anchor it on the bottom. All right, which is another reason why you want to do everything first. And yes, your back may look like a disaster zone. Don't worry about it. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is basically just a French knot. All right, so I'm going to wrap it twice and sink it down into the hole if it wants to come through. And that's really all you're doing. And I'll do it one more time. And those are for the little, I usually use, for hydrangeas, I usually use a French knot for those fill-in spaces when there are no leaves in there. All right, so that's your French knot. There's another French knot that I use a lot, and it makes it a little bit more fluffy, so to speak, is it's a French knot with a running stitch. So what you've done is you've wrapped your thread. You've wrapped your thread. And then what you're going to do is start to poke holes in and out from your ribbon as much as you want. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to drive it down just like I do a French knot. And it just loosens it up. I'll do it again. I do know these two are on they're definitely on that video, but I will do the video. I will do just a single video. I think there might be, but I'll do a single video. So I'm just basically going in like this. I've wrapped it. I'm going to drive it down into that hole. And there's your French knot. Okay. The other one is a loop. For the loop, all you're doing is you're coming back into the same hole. All right, so you pulled it out as far as you want. Some people will go just behind the hole, and you're welcome to do that. I usually start at the intercept of where the flower is, so the center of the flower, all right? And some people will go back into the same hole. You just don't want to stab it. And this is where a laying tool comes into play, and there's your loop. So I have not pulled it tight. I did have a pencil here somewhere, but I don't know where it went. So I'm going to use my finger. All right. I've pulled it tight. So because you want to hold on to that until you get to your next stitch. So you're going to go up through the same hole or right next to it. We'll go right next to it for the purposes of this. My stitch is in, I can let go, and then down into this stitch. And I'm going to do this. A hydrangea has 4 petals or so. The other thing a laying tool is good for, which I didn't use here, which I should have, is it will take your ribbon and straighten it out for you if you just, hold on, this one got all twisted. If you just, I'll go back and do it again. Okay, up again. I'm going to unravel this a little bit so it's easier for me. I can use my laying tool or my needle and kind of flatten it. There you go. And then I'm going to bring it back down in the same hole. And I'm going to do that around. And for some reason, these don't want to work this morning. I'm going to do that around. And when I'm done, I'm going to move on to the next petal. Okay. And I skipped around. So, and like I said, if you don't like the way it looks, just pull it out. It's you'd be surprised at how forgiving it is. I'm going to cut another piece of ribbon because I wasn't liking the way that one looked. I'll do it again. Always cut your ribbon at an angle. So if you cut it at an angle, it's easier to get into your needle. And if you're using a size 7 ribbon, you want to use about between a 22 or a 20 needle. And you can, with a 13 millimeter, you also want to use a 20. Okay, so I'm going to go back in. I'll bring it down here. Putting it into the same hole. Holding on to it. The next one. Going back into that hole. And I lost one, which does happen. You will lose it from time to time. That. Gotta rethread my needle because I didn't thread it the right way. Just to show you. This time I'm just holding on to the needle, holding on to the thread. And then I'm gonna go down in. You can even go down in right behind it. That works as well. That will still give you that loop. And that's basically what your loops are gonna look like. Okay, and you can do that all the way around. And at the very end is when I put in the beads. And I did not put in beads everywhere. And just be patient and you'll get it. And there you go. Very simple. And Karen, you're on here, right?
I am.
So you just learned how to do ribbon not too long ago.
Correct.
Okay. And it came out stunning. So she did a sunflower, which is done, by the way. I'm going to pick
Thank
it
you.
up this morning. A sunflower lady that came out stunning. So when you're doing that, that's all you're doing for these. And then on your leaves, I went back, I'm gonna, oh, wait a minute, you're over here. All right, I'm gonna go back in here. FaceTime. Hold on. There you go. I did my leaves second. And I just scattered them in and out. And I did do a lot of them down here using the different color greens that you have with the ribbon. Any questions? Blair.
Michelle, some of the background color is mixed in with the flowers. Do you
Mhm.
not bother doing that, or you do in fact?
You can if you want, because it will give you a little bit of stabilizer when you put your ribbon
Okay.
in, but you do not have to,
Okay.
okay? Because it is basically, this one is just chock filled with ribbon if you're doing the ribbon. The other way to do this, and I believe I said that if you're not gonna do ribbon, the way to do these is a little bit, as a lot of, you can either use straight stitches or French knots. You can even do a mixture of the two. Do some with ribbon and do some with French knots with the thread that you have. That would be really pretty too. I didn't have it in me to stitch this twice. Sorry. Um, and then when you do your beads at the end, I literally took them and just put them in the center of different places, and I used both sets of beads, and it's not, I don't know if you can see it, and I can send you guys a close-up. It's not heavily beaded. The beads are just kind of scattered in there. And I will tell you that my back, it's heavy. So this is my back at the end of it. All right. So you don't, and it's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel heavy. So that is the hydrangea. All right.
How long of a piece of ribbon? How long should your ribbon be?
Your ribbon might want to be, I mean, I would make it a little bit less than what your thread is for when you're
When I
just a little
normal.
bit left and I
Okay.
cut it, because otherwise you're going to start to tangle it up. All right. And then I mean,
And then you are going to.
I don't, on this one, there are places where I might have done, this color here and then taken it like right next door. You can do that. Just realize that you're going to be going in and out of ribbon as you move along.
Okay. And then
Okay.
how do you end it? You're just messy back there when you got short. Did you just kind of leave it or did you weave it?
I weaved it into another piece of ribbon. All right. And then tied it.
Okay.
Okay. And yes, I do leave my longer strands. All right. And what I did at the end, in order to make sure that I took some of the beading thread at the end and I just took that beading thread and treated it as I was going and just took them so they all crunched together. So a finisher's not screaming at me at the end, so to speak. So, and there are a couple places where there might be, you might find, and if you find things at the end where you just have to go in and put a little bit more in, do a French knot.
Okay.
Do a French knot. They are great. They are like really one of the best things you can do for fillers when it comes to ribbon work.
Did I understand you to say that you kind of don't work a whole section, you can kind of just scatter around as
I
you're
do.
working?
I
Okay.
do. Some people are much better at working a whole section. I am not one of those people because I'm looking at colors and saying, where do I want to have this color? So, because I might do all of one color ribbon at the same time, and then I'll go back and add another color depending on what the look is that I'm looking to do. So depending on this one, it's easy to do. This one, it's much easier to jump around than it is some of the others because of what the others are. So as you move into different flowers, you may not have that availability, but do it make it easy for yourself. All right. And enjoy it. And if you I don't know how many projects I've done at this point with ribbon, but the more you get into it, the easier it becomes. And it is really, really, even though it might if you pull it out and it looks like it teared a little bit, it will come back. It's bizarre. I don't understand it, but it's bizarre. So it's really, really, I could even see as Karen was moving around with her sunflower lady, where she probably finished compared to where she started. And I can see that it probably got easier.
It did.
Yeah. And if you have a laying tool, a pencil, a knitting needle, a skewer, use that as you're doing your loops so you don't lose that stitch. Otherwise, you're going to keep going back and doing the same stitch. Does that make sense? Yes, Poonam.
I have a couple of questions. So
Okay.
most of this, the loop stitch,
Most of it is the loop with some French knots in it. I will send you all an email with this picture in it so you can blow it up as you want to. I do see some places that I need to go in and do a couple more French knots, but I will do that. Most of it is loop with some of the French knots added into it.
So my second question is, there are 3 ribbons, right, in shades of purple,
Mm-hmm.
but they're different widths. Does it matter?
Nope.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Got it.
Nope. And what I did is what I told the girls, I think you came on just a shy later, is that this is a perfect one to be able to just play with the color. You don't have to worry about matching the color exactly as you're moving along. If you want more blue shades, do more blue. If you want more of the purple, do more purple. This is perfect for that, and you don't have to pay attention to the canvas as much. And then what I did at the end is I just did a straight stitch. I'll show you what a straight stitch is. Let me get back. For the a straight stitch for the leaves. And it's just how it sounds. It's just a straight stitch. For the length that you want. If you want to go over 2 stitches, 3 stitches. So I'm pulling this up in. I'm pulling this up. I'm probably gonna do this a little bit, and your straight stitch is just gonna take it down to where you want it to be. And that's your straight stitch. My tail is a little too long on this one, which is another reason why you don't want to do your thread too long. Come on. And that's a straight stitch. Pulled a little too tight, but then you can go back and you can loosen that up. That's
Michelle, what are you using the strandable green Splendor for?
the strandable green Splendor I used for the iris,
Oh, okay.
but you could also use it for your leaves here. All right, if you've got the hydrangea,
Yes.
because the iris I did not do with ribbon. The iris was literally paint threading, and then I did a brick stitch for the leaves. But if you're going to use it on the hydrangea, you can always use it. You can definitely use it there. So you can use whatever colors you want. And that's why some people didn't want to do ribbon at all, but they wanted to do them. So I think let me see what I did for. I did a leaf stitch for some of the leaves, and you can use the Splendor, the painter's thread, the silk straw. I mix it up. If you're not doing the ribbon, I mixed up the different greens, so you have the ability to have different textures with your leaves, as in the same with the flowers.
So you can use the straw silk on some of the leaves as well as the ribbon
Absolutely.
on the hydrangea.
Absolutely. You can use whatever greens you want to use. You can use ribbon, you can use the painter's thread, you can use straw silk, you can use the Splendor.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll move on. If everybody is good with the hydrangea,
One more real quick one. What order though? So would you do the loops first or the loop?
Question.
I would do your loops first on the ribbon,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
then
then
go
come back with French knots in ribbon?
Yes.
Okay.
And whether you're going to use the French knot, I mean, some of the little bigger spaces that you don't want to put a loop in, you might want to do the French knot with the running stitch,
Okay.
which is the second French knot I showed you. But it's easier if you do the loops first, because you have an idea of how much you are filling that page, that canvas. So,
And then end with leaves.
and add with leaves.
Okay.
This one has leaves. Let's see if this works. This one has a lot of leaves down the bottom. I believe I did all of those second as well. Usually I would do the leaves first, but for some reason on this one, I just started filling in with the loops. So,
And then the beads last.
and the beads last. And once you have that beading thread out, it's easy to take, if you've done the ribbon, it's easy to take it afterwards and just pull your needle through the back of the ribbon and tighten it up a little bit.
How long are the loops?
The loops are no bigger than your pinky around. They're not very long. They're not very long at all. If you can see, I don't know if you can see that. That's a loop right there. That's probably the biggest loop. I'll send you a close-up, and that will make it easier for you, Tracy, to see it. But they're not very big. It's not as if they're not this long. They're more like that long. They're tiny. They're tiny. All right. So on the iris was the only one that I did not do any ribbon on. I had started to, and it just wasn't coming together the way I would have liked to get it. So I used what they call thread painting, which basically sounds scary, but really what thread painting is, it's long stitches. All right. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. Once again, your background is a T-stitch with that blossom and Silk Lame Petite. The leaves are done, all the greens are done with a vertical brick stitch. And you can't see it, but I played with the greens and I used every greens in your package. Okay. I used 4 strands on the Splendor. And I used the painter's thread and the silk straw as is. And I just did vertical all the way up. So I started, this one, I will tell you that I started over here and then worked across. And once again, I didn't pay too much attention to the different, I did pay attention to the colors, but then I didn't pay attention to the colors. Like if I knew that, oh, that should be a little bit lighter and it was a lot, that was easy. But if it wasn't, then I just did it for the next thread. So you might want to cut these a little shorter as well as you're moving along so you can pull that up. All right. So like I said, all this I'm going to show you 2 different colors of long stitches. All right. And how this one works.
Michelle, is this the next one we're getting?
Yes, because not everybody got the same one because we
Oh.
had so many people sign up. We did not have enough of one, but I kept them in the same colorways because you will use the same colorway.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've already threaded this and I did it from the back and I should have done it from the front with a waist knot, but I'm going to go down in the here and this is just a purple thread. Okay. We'll do it at an angle. I'm going to just put some threads in. Hold on. Just as if you be doing long stitches. And sometimes I intercept them. I put it in the middle of one.
Michelle, would you use a laying tool for long stitches?
You can, but you don't have to. Okay. This thread lays really nicely. A lot of people will use a laying tool. It depends on, I didn't see the need to use it, but I will tell you that I'm a little lazier than I should be sometimes. You know, I think a laying tool will make it look, I think there's a little bit of a depth on this. So it's puffier. So it depends on what you're trying to do. All right. Because this laid fairly straight, I didn't feel the need to use it, but there are times, like if I was using a neon rays with it, I would definitely use a laying tool. When I add the next color, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with it and I'm going to intercept it a little bit into there. I would start with your lightest color on this one. And that's all thread painting is. That's literally all thread painting is. It is long stitches, random long stitches. The difference is you want you kind of give it that, what's the word I'm looking for? Watercolory feel to it. Okay. So your next one, I'm going to go back to the purple, the darker purple. And I'm just going to put it in here. And there you go. And and it kind of feels, as you're shading along, it kind of feels like it's watercolory, and that's all. So, I believe that there is a tutorial which I can send you to on painting. I'll send you the tutorial and when I send over the pictures of these two. And if you have any questions, absolutely. This one, the challenge on this one is those people who do not like to do random stitches have a little bit more difficult time. But it's the same, if you're thinking about it, it is the same with the ribbon, because ribbon is not meticulous. It's not, we're used to a very militant, meticulous stitch when we're needle pointing. And both ribbon and thread painting take you out of that comfort zone. So, which is perfect for somebody like me, but may not be perfect for somebody who is really regimented in the way that they stitch. So all I ask is that you be patient with yourself. You do not worry about your stitches so much. No petal is perfect. No petal is perfect. No petal is alike. No leaf is alike. You can't make mistakes. And you just have to have fun with it. Think of yourself again, like if you're very militant in your stitches, think again of think of yourself being a 5-year-old playing with finger paints, or even a little younger, just putting them on there, and you'll be fine. Did any of you get the iris that are on here today?
I did.
Okay. Okay. Are you feeling comfortable with what you need to do, Anne?
Yes,
Okay. All right,
I
good.
got it.
All right, good. If you have any questions, my email is, I'm the only one that answers those emails. And I'm the only one that, and I'll put my cell phone in there too, if you want to send me a text of what you're working on, and I will get back to you on it. And because if you're having a problem, we can always do a one-on-one as well. But just enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you, they don't take long once you start going. Oh, you're going to be fine, Poonam. You're going to be fine. Just, they're really, once you start going and you get in the rhythm, it really becomes fun. And it's like, well, most things become fun. I was working on French knots last night and hating every minute of it.
My French knots don't come out nearly as nice as yours do.
Oh, you would, if by the end of the night, and these are literally an all day thing, because I had, was working on windowsills, and they're all on underneath is all different. And then the ribbon is easier for me. And then there's a big, huge bow on like a couple layers down that I started working, that I finished last night too. And I'm like, this is just pure hell. But we got it done. And that's all that matters. So if you have any questions.
I have a question. Is there a trick to how many times you should twist the thread around the needle for a French knot?
Good
At least
question.
two or
times.
three.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then just hold on to that tail as you're diving it back, as you're diving that needle back into the canvas.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
I find 2 or 3 works best for me.
And go into the adjacent hole like you showed us, not go into the same hole.
You can go in the adjacent, or you can go into the exact hole for the French knot.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else have a question? It's nice to see your faces early on Monday morning. Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. As soon as this uploads, I will send you the upload, and I will send you the pictures as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
Have a great
Michelle.
day.
Thank
Enjoy.
you,
I want to see
Michelle.
progress.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Marie.
Bye-bye.